Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at these brand new Jazwares Legendary Series Fortnite figures. And I don't know anything about Fortnite. I've never played the game. I have no idea if these characters have backstories or anything like that. And I know just 2 videos ago I was talking about how the McFarlane Fortnite figures look cool, but I just couldn't get into them because I had no interest in Fortnite. And now here I am contradicting myself 2 videos later. That's how we get down. But I saw these figures in the store today and I thought they looked like a lot of fun, so I picked them up, and I feel like there's some customizing potential here. So with this guy over here, I kind of feel like we could turn him into Mr. Knight, which is a version of Moon Knight. I think that would be awesome. And he could also work for a Mr. Negative, which a lot of people have had that idea, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that coming up soon. And I think that's a really good use of this body. And even if I don't make a specific character, it's always cool to have suited bodies, so that's cool. And then over here, this guy is just a dude in a bunny suit with weapons. I mean, that's that's fun, you know. And another thing too is he reminds me of, he's probably based on Ralphie from A Christmas Story, and I mean, that's cool. So I'm probably gonna get this figure and display it at my house at Christmas time. We'll see. But anyways, let's get into it. The packaging looks really cool for both of these figures. It's very eye-catching, and I like how you can see all the accessories. You can see the figure. There's all kinds of graphics. There's some artwork here in the front. On the side of both of the boxes, we have some artwork. And let's see the back here. On the back, we're able to see some of the other figures that came out at the same time as these two. And the other one that looked really interesting to me was the Visitor. It'd be cool to army build him and maybe use him as like some kind of like space patroller or something to fight against some cosmic Marvel figures. I think that's a pretty cool idea. We'll see if I ever get around to getting those. Probably not, but they do look cool. The artwork here is okay. On this side, we have some artwork of this bunny dude. And yeah, it looks like they're going to be coming out with some more of these figures. It looks like it's saying more dropping soon, and this is just series 1. So pretty interesting stuff. The packaging does look good. It is collector friendly. You can take the figures out, put them back in if you'd like. But that's enough of that. Let's look at these crazy things. Okay, so now we have both figures out of the packaging, and they're both interesting figures. There's a lot of really cool things going on here. We're going to start off with Wildcard, and he's just a basic suited body, but it does look good. The sculpted details look okay. It's kind of hard to see because of my review lights here, and he's just all white. There isn't much paint detail on him, which is going to be okay when it comes to repainting this figure if that's what people decide to do. But as is, there's not much going on here. And then you have the vest part of the jacket that's soft plastic, so it doesn't really get in the way. But there is some details on there that are sculpted. I just wish there was a little bit more paint on this guy, but I guess that's not really how they look in the video game, so you can't really blame them for that. And all the joints are very well hidden. And the rumor is that the folks working on this line of action figures used to work at Toy Biz, so we might see some similarities here, like the articulated hands. Haven't seen that in a while. But yeah, you know, that used to be a Toy Biz thing back in the day. But yeah, aside from that, the joints are very well hidden. Everything looks very good. And these are 1/12 scale figures, but I guess you could call them like true 1/12 scale, which means they're a little bit smaller than something like Marvel Legends. They're more like the size of import figures, so I'm okay with that. And both of them do have a feature where you could remove the face and put on an alternate face, and I don't know if this is like a different character or what's going on, but that looks really cool. Check that out. I like that a lot. And obviously this figure is based on like playing cards, so we have the clubs here that looks good, and then he also has a face that has the diamonds, and then he also has a face that has the spades. And as we already saw, he has a face that has the hearts. But I think I like this look the most. This is really cool. It kind of looks creepy. And the head is kind of like a mask that's strapped to his head. Really cool. That's good. I like this one a lot. I like that better than the heart. But and then on the back here, like I said, I don't know anything about Fortnite, but I did watch a couple of Fortnite figure reviews on Foosh, and Robo kept calling these things back bling, so that's what we'll call them. And I mean, his back bling looks kind of cool. It's just like a briefcase. It does have a handcuff. I wish the handcuff had like an actual chain or soft plastic, because as is, it's just a really stiff piece of plastic and it could only sit one way. But I guess you could kind of do that if you want to get the figure in like a running pose. I mean, I guess that would help you achieve that, but otherwise it's just going to be hanging out just like that. So it is what it is, and it plugs right into his back, and it's kind of a tight fit, but just a peg and a peg hole. You stick that in there, bam, there you go. But yeah, the figure looks good. He does have big hands and big feet, but I feel like that's intentional and that's like a character design thing. But yeah, like I said, it's always cool to have suited bodies, and I think this works for a pretty generic suited body. I'm curious to know if fans of this character are going to be happy with what we have going on here. I'm sure they will, because it's a fairly basic design, and it looks like this company executed this one pretty good. So I think people will be happy with it, and I think it looks good. And next up we have the Rabbit Raider, and this guy is much more fun and interesting. The other figure is cool, but this one is just so goofy and bizarre. It's just a lot of fun to mess around with and check out. But yeah, let's look at it here. So we have the face, which is like an Easter bunny, but like painted onto a hockey mask or something crazy like that. And then you have the hood that's soft plastic, and it's detached from the rest of the figure, so you could pull that off if you want. But yeah, that face looks really crazy and creepy and weird, and he does have blonde hair. And you got the soft plastic on the ears too. And the belt is not removable. It looks like it's kind of plugged into place right in there. But it does have these little Easter egg grenades on it that look pretty cool. Then the belt kind of goes around, and then you have something right here like some kind of carrots or something. And then on the back you have this, his back bling is a big old Easter egg. And again, you could just pull that right out with the peg there. And then you have his tail. Yeah, this figure, this is funny, man. This is cool. But look at that, you got that shoulder swivel. But all the joints are very well hidden on this figure too. Once again, you have the articulating hands that kind of look a little strange. And I don't like these too much because it makes it hard for him to hold his accessories. Down here, you got like a piece of armor on his thigh. Then you've got the bunny ear slippers, and those look cool, and I like the mud on there. That's awesome. And he also has mud like on his hands and on his sleeves. It would have been cool if there was more mud throughout the figure, but that's really cool. Looks like he's been running around fighting, doing his thing. And he also has a removable face feature, which is very simple to deal with. You just take the face off, and then you have this head here, which is just like a plain face with blonde hair. And then you have this one with glasses on, and then this one definitely screams Ralphie from A Christmas Story. But this one looks cool too. The sculpt work on this guy is really good. The figure itself doesn't feel smooth at all, so it definitely has like a pajama type of feel to it. So I think that's cool. These figures, man, they really went all out. And aside from the back bling and the interchangeable faces, they both come with some other really cool accessories. We'll start off with wildcards. First off, he comes with this big pistol, and this thing looks really cool. I like how it has like a very animated, goofy kind of design to it. I like how there's a little gap in the trigger guard so his finger could fit right into there. And yeah, this is a really cool little pistol, you know. He looks really cool holding it, and he's able to hold it without any problems at all. And then next up, he has his missile launcher, and this thing looks really cool too. There's a lot of nice paint detail on it actually, and the sculpt work is very good. I like the painted teeth on here, the painted eyes. Really cool stuff. I like how it has like a green missile, and it's a nice contrast to the rest of the color of the weapon. And again, he has no problem holding this thing at all. And then next he has his crowbar, and again, this thing has some really nice sculpted details on it. And it's kind of big and crazy looking. And I think that, I'm not sure what the harvesters are or why each character has a weapon like this, but I'm pretty sure this is his weapon, kind of like the pickaxe that the rest of the characters have. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if not, it's a cool looking crowbar, so I do like that. And again, he could hold this too. Even though he has the articulated hands, he has no problem holding his weapons. And the Rabbit Raider does come with some cool accessories too. First off, he has this big grenade, and it's kind of oversized and cartoonish looking, so I like this. It does have these green squares and pink squares to kind of make it match with the figure itself. And it's a very well done little grenade thing. It has some nice sculpted details on it. And then he also comes with this little canister, and I'm not 100% sure what this is for. It does have a little space there so that you could plug it onto something, but I wasn't able to figure out what it plugs onto. So if you know, be sure to let me know in the comments, but this thing does look cool, but I wish I knew what it was for. And then next up, he has this big old weapon, which is nice. It has some really cool paint details. It looks very good. It's sculpted very nice. And the rabbit's hands are a little looser than the wild card figure's hands, so he has a little trouble holding onto his weapons, but for the most part I think it works out okay. And this gun here is pretty cool, man. I like this thing a lot actually. And then we have this thing, which is insane. His pickaxe, which has a carrot on one side and then a chocolate bunny on the other side. And then it's like an Easter basket with a bow on top and some green stuff going on in there. It looks like there's some Easter eggs in there. So that's cool. And again, he has a little trouble holding this thing, but if you maybe use some little clear rubber bands or something like that to make sure that his hands are able to grip onto it, then it looks kind of cool. But yeah, this is an insane weapon that he has here. And just to show you a couple of quick head swaps, here we have the wildcard figure with a Deadpool head, and this head comes from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave Deadpool, and I think that looks pretty cool. I think a lot of people will want this wildcard figure just to do this and have a suited Deadpool. And for me, this might work for my Mr. Knight custom. I'd probably just have to shave off some of the mask details and sculpt the little moon on there and maybe build it up, because as is, it kind of looks like it sits a little bit low, and it doesn't pop on there. The ball joint on the figure is a little too small, and as you can see, the hole in the head is pretty big, so it would have to be built up and padded out to make that stay on there, but I think that could work. And as I said, the bodies are a little bit small, so all of the Marvel Legends heads are going to look a little bit big or kind of weird on there. But let's look at a couple other ones that I have laying around here. I also have the Ultimate Peter Parker head, and that actually looks too small. I kind of thought that was going to work, but it doesn't. And then we have the Ultimate Miles Morales head, same thing. I thought that was going to work because it was smaller, but it turns out it's just a little too small. And then we have the movie Doctor Strange head. And that kind of looks okay. If anything, it's just a hair too big, but I mean, it's pretty decent. It's probably passable. And I was hoping that I could put the SH Figure Arts Tony Stark head on there, but the ball joint just won't fit at all. And so I pushed it back like that just to see what it looks like. And it kind of looks like it might work, you know. It's hard to tell without being able to get it on there just right. But I think that would be kind of cool. And then we have this what was this, Civil War, no, Winter Soldier Marvel Legends Captain America figure, and that's too big even if you built it up. Oh, maybe, look, yeah, it's really hard to tell, but there's some possibilities there. And then last but not least, we have the Nick Fury figure. This Nick Fury is pretty old at this point. This came out years ago in a 2-pack with Captain America, and that might be able to work. I think the size works, it just kind of sits on there a little funny. Oh yeah, that looks really cool actually. But yeah, you know, there's some possibilities for some head swaps, but just keep in mind it's a little bit smaller than Marvel Legends figures, so not every Marvel Legends head is going to work on this body. And for a couple of quick size comparisons, here they are next to the Lightning Collection White Ranger and the Marvel Legends Deadpool from the Sasquatch Wave. And as you can see, they are a little bit smaller than the average 6-inch figure. And then next we have them alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And then now here we have them with the Mafex Amazing Spider-Man and the Figure Arts Age of Ultron Iron Man. And then here they are next to the Black Series Boba Fett and the SH Figure Arts Raphael. And then for the final comparison, we have them next to the Marvel Legends Power and Glory Captain America and the Marvel Legends Chameleon. So for the articulation on these guys, both of them have a really nice amount of it. On the front of the box, it says that Wildcard has 40 points of articulation and the Rabbit has 38 points. And I thought to myself, like, how the heck did they fit that much articulation into these things? But once I opened it up, I saw what they did here. But let's get into it. So his head is able to move side to side. He has a little bit of tilt to it, but not very much. He could look down to right there. He could look up to right there. His torso just has a mid-torso cut. It doesn't get too much movement, but it can go side to side. It does swivel. You could go back to about right. I can't really go back too much. Goes back to about right there. Crunches forward to right there. So not much movement on that torso joint, but you know, it's decent. It's not too bad. And then for his arms, he does have butterfly shoulders, which is pretty cool, but they don't get that much movement either. It's very little. I mean, it's okay. It's probably pretty equal to like a Mezco butterfly shoulder joint. You know how like it's there, but it doesn't get too much movement. Just helps out a little bit. Then you have ball jointed shoulders that go all the way around. He has upper bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows that get a really nice bend. And then for his hands, he has a swivel and a hinge. And then he has articulated fingers. So that's pretty cool. That's old school. And, you know, I would have preferred interchangeable hands. I'm not, you know, articulated fingers don't work that well. And then for the legs, they could come out to the side. You could pretty much kick all the way to the side. You could do the splits, basically. He can't really kick forward too much though. I was a little surprised by that. His legs pretty much only come out to the front of him like that. Can't really get them much higher. And then it could go back to right there. Then he has upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, which are awesome, lower leg swivel, and a swivel at the foot. And then he has a rocker at the foot. He has a hinge, but it could only go to right there because the pants stop it. It could only come up to right there. And then he has articulated toes. Look at that. So yeah, once you start to see all those little things they did, you see where they get that number of 40 points of articulation. So yeah, it's good. I like the articulation on this guy. I do wish the torso was a little bit better, but aside from that, I have no big issues with it. And the Rabbit Raider pretty much has the same articulation as Wildcard, minus a few things, but it's the same basic articulation setup, so it's pretty good. But let's remove the bunny ears here so we could see what his head is able to do. It can move side to side. There's not much tilt to it. It sits a little lower than Wildcard, but he can look all the way up to right there, look all the way down to right there. And then for the torso, he has movement at that mid torso. Again, not much bend to it. He can only crunch forward to about there. Comes back to about there. You got some side to side. So not much going on with that torso, but again, you know, it's decent. Then he does have a waist swivel, which Wildcard does not have. So, okay. And then for his arms, again, he has those butterfly jointed shoulders that work a little bit better here because he doesn't have the jacket blocking it like Wildcard does. So you got to kind of push them, but they work. You know, they're pretty good. Get a little movement out of them. And then ball jointed shoulders that go all the way around. Upper bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows that work pretty good. They get a nice bend to them. And then for his hands, he has a swivel and a hinge and articulated fingers again. For his legs, whoa, look at that. He could do the splits. They could come out to the side. Again, can't really go forward too much. Look at that. Pretty much get stopped right there. So I was a little surprised by that, because it'd be cool to be able to get him to sit down, and I'm sure you can. It just takes a little bit more work than I like. So there's that. They could come up to right there. Upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, a swivel at the foot, and then his feet could come down to right there. They could come up to right there. And he does have rocking ankles, but all his feet movements are kind of hindered because the pajama leg comes down a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, the articulation is nice on this guy too. Okay, so overall, I like these figures, and I feel like Jazwares is off to a good start with these things. And even though I'm not a big fan of Fortnite, I do think that these are really good action figures. They have a bunch of good articulation, a bunch of cool accessories, and it seems like they accurately capture the look of these characters from the video game. So that's all good stuff. What's not to like here? And if you're a big fan of Fortnite, I'm sure that you're going to love these things, and I'm sure kids are going to eat these things up. But for me, they just kind of have like random appeal. Like I said, I'm going to use the wild card for customs, and this guy reminds me of a movie I like, so that's why they appeal to me, and that's how they got me. But yeah, these are cool figures, and I do enjoy them. I'm gonna have a lot of fun messing around with them, so I am happy that I have them. I don't know, they didn't really blow me away like other random figures that I pick up that I'm not necessarily familiar with, but like I said, they are good figures, but I don't think these two convince me to want to go buy a bunch of these guys. If I do see a character that appeals to me that I think looks cool, I'll probably pick it up. Like, I'm kind of interested in that visitor figure, so maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But you know, but for the most part, I will be keeping an eye out on this line just to see if anything cool comes across, but I'm not gonna run out and go buy every single one of these or anything like that. But I do like these two, so there you have it. And I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Peace.
That's crispy.